Greetings! Whether you're listening or viewing from around the world, I am your host, Paula G, and you are ready for the journey. This is My Journey with Paula G. And I'm so glad that each and every one of you have tuned in. If this is your first time, thank you so much for embracing our journey and joining us. If you are a returning listener or viewer, thank you so much. We appreciate you tuning in each and every week. And for those who are embracing the journey through their underwriting support, and that would be our underwriters, we thank them all so very much for their support because without them, we would not have the opportunity to do what it is that we do. So we appreciate our underwriters. And I also want to give a shout out to my producer, Jerry Voice Live of Positive Power 21. Can you feel the fire? Can you feel the power? Positive Power 21. We thank him so much for all of his hard work and his efforts. Now, if you have a business, a product, or service, and you're interested in gaining exposure for that business, product, or service, you can email us at jerryvoicelive@gmail.com or Paula at paulagvoice.com. Put underwriting opportunities in the subject line, and then we'll be sure to follow up with you. Also, please stay connected across all social media platforms. I am Paula G Voice across all social media platforms. My website is paulagvoice.com as well. And there you can find anything and everything you ever wanted to know about Paula G Voice and this particular journey. Well, today, for a few moments, I want to talk to you all a bit about staying present. Staying present. We are in such a fast paced society that a lot of times it's difficult for us to keep up with everything that's going on, and we find ourselves overwhelmed. And I don't know about you, but I find myself being overwhelmed with all of these things or tasks that have to be done. You know, you have a job, you may have a spouse, you may have children, you may volunteer, you may have other projects and all of these different things. And it seems like we're just on this merry-go-round that's going round and round, and it's constantly busy, and we don't ever seem to slow down. And we're constantly thinking about the next moment and not being present in the present moment. You know, have you ever had the experience where someone may say something to you, or something may occur and a person will refer to it later? Or do you remember when we did this? Or do you remember when we did that? And you're like, no, I wasn't there. I don't remember that. But in fact, we were there. We just weren't present. There was a song some years ago. I think it was the OJs. And well, it was secular. So, but there was a song years ago where it said, your body's here with me, but your mind is on the other side of town. And I think a lot of times that happens with us where our body is present in a situation, but our mind is someplace else. And then at a later date, someone will refer to something that they said in that particular conversation, or we might have nodded and agreed to, not really hearing them, but listening, but not really hearing them. We're like, yeah, but they interpreted that as a yes, a confirmation to what they were saying. So later down the line, when we maybe don't follow through with something or we don't recall something, they're like, but yeah, but you agreed, you said yeah. And you're like, I don't remember doing that. The body being present, but the mind being somewhere else. And I believe that in the microwave society that we're in, that happens quite a bit with a lot of us, that we're constantly available 24/7. You know, we have these businesses, we have banks now, we can do 24/7 banking, we can online banking, 24/7 shopping. Everything is 24/7. It's like, when do we rest? When do we have the opportunity to rest our minds, much less our bodies? Because we're up and down during the night, and we're on our phones, and our brain is constantly going. And I know for some people, when they're thinking of something in the middle of the night, they have to get up and they have to write it down, or they have to do it, or whatever it is. So the question is, when do we rest? When does our mind rest? We really have to be intentional these days about our rest and when we rest and developing these boundaries. After 7 o'clock in the evening, I'm not entertaining any more emails or I'm not entertaining any more phone calls. After 9 o'clock in the evening, I'm in bed or whatever time you designate for yourself. And I'm going to bed, I'm going to get my 6 or 7 hours of sleep and get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, if you will, and start my day, but get a good solid night's sleep. I'm not going to be looking at my phone during the night. Once I lay my head on that pillow, the phone goes on the um, nightstand or coffee table or whatever. It goes off if you can turn it off so that you can fully, completely relax your mind and rest your brain because our brains are constantly churning. Our brains are constantly going because it's information. It's like information overload. We're constantly getting information from the television, from the radio, from the phones, from just the noise in our community and in our area. And we're not giving ourselves an opportunity to rest. The body needs to rest in order to repair itself. So we have to not only slow down, but we have to stop, turn that brain off so it can rest. Think of something, relaxing, meditation, all of those things, so our brain can rest and rest our bodies as well. Our bodies need rest. And we're going to take a break. When we come back on the other side of the break, I want to talk a little bit more about this because I think it's so important that we be intentional about resting our mind, we be intentional about resting our body, we be intentional about resting our spirit. So don't go anywhere. This is My Journey with Paula G. I'm your host, Paula G. When we come back on the other side of the break, we'll continue this conversation.
In this hour, he's moving. I got the love of Jesus deep inside of me. Yeah. Moving in my hand, moving in my feet, moving in my spirit, all over me. God is moving, yeah. He's moving from the jailhouse to the courthouse, yes he is. He's moving from the crack house to the White House, yes he is. God is moving in from my house to the church house, yeah. Move by your spirit, yeah. We welcome you, move by your spirit. Move by your power. Do what you want to do, any way you want to move.
Welcome back to my journey with Paula G, where we are juggling this journey called life while we're walking in the gifts and the talents that God has given us. And before the break, we were talking a little bit about being present and how important it is for us to give our brains an opportunity to rest. Our mind is constantly going. In this day and age, we have so many adults, not just children, but so many adults also that are struggling with ADD, attention deficit disorder, where they can't focus on one thing, they can't stay focused, they got all these different things going on, and the attention span is here, maybe 1 minute, and then it's over here and it's over here. And I just wonder if part of that is due to the society that we live in, where we've got so much information coming at us. I know there are times where I'm trying to focus on one thing. I may be reading a book or reading some instructions or preparing for an engagement. And I have the information in front of me. And, if I have the television on or if I have the radio on, something on the television, something on the radio might distract my attention. Or if there's something going on outside, you're getting up to see, what that is. And it's especially, if you all notice, especially when you're on, and I won't name a particular platform, but if you're on some of these social platforms and you might be looking at a video or listening to something, and these commercials are constantly coming up, whether they're coming up as in an audio video, or they're just popping up. That you're reading something on your phone. Oh my gosh, when I'm reading Bible passages on my phone, which I really prefer to have a physical book, but sometimes that's not possible. So when I'm reading a Bible passage and that you have all of these pop-ups, it's very distracting, especially when you're sitting there, you're reading the Word of God. You're like, okay, I'm getting this. I'm understanding what you're saying, Lord. You're speaking to me, Lord. And then those pop-ups start coming up, and then you have to X out of them. And if you're not careful and you don't hit the X the right way, then it takes you to some website or it takes you to something else, and you're just totally thrown off. That's the society that we're living in, where we're constantly having these interruptions in our mind, and it can get very frustrating. It can create a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress, because you're constantly thinking, that I've got to get this done, or I've got to get that done, or here's the other thing. You have a to-do list. Okay, I'm going to focus on doing these, two or three things today. And you might be able to get the first thing done. And then maybe the second thing you start and you're focused and something takes your attention. Next thing you know, the day has gone by and you have not completed all of your tasks. We have to be intentional about turning off our brain. And I believe, and I'm sure you might have some other ideas, and if you do, by all means, share them with me. You can email me, paula@paulagvoice.com. But I believe getting a good night's rest. Now, some people say, "Oh, I only need 4 hours of sleep." That may be true. Some say they need 6, some need 7. You have to determine how much sleep you need so that your body will feel rejuvenated and rested. And you have to get that sleep. Now, the recommendation for years has been 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Some people say that's too much for me. I can't sleep that long. You're going to have to figure out, or you'll have to figure out what is the best span of time for you to sleep. But it needs to be intentional sleep. The lights are out, the room is dark if you're not a shift worker. If you're a shift worker, that's a different story. Your phone is off and you're just focusing your mind on resting and eliminating and turning a lot of the noise off. There have been recommendations to, turn the noise off maybe an hour or two before you go to bed. Maybe perhaps read a relaxing book or an enjoyable book, or listening to some soothing music or something to help you meditate, something to help you bring that brain energy down and bring that brain power down. For me personally, I love music. And I will sit and I will just close my eyes and I will just listen to the music and just allow my body to feel the music, my mind to feel the music, and to eliminate any other thoughts that may attempt to enter my brain. And when they do attempt to enter my brain, I'm always prayerful. I'm like, Lord, remove these thoughts, remove this feeling of anxiety that I get sometimes, that even though I'm trying to meditate, a thought will pop in my head and I'm like, oh, I got to get up and do that, or I got to write it down when I finish, as opposed to, Lord, just help my spirit to stay calm, help my spirit to stay focused on staying calm and resting in that moment and being present in that moment. And I think of that song often. Like I said, even though it's a secular song, your body's here with me, but your mind is on the other side of town. And it refers, in that particular song, it's referring to a relationship. But when you think about the words themselves, our body is present, but our mind is someplace else. And many times we miss blessings that are in the moments. Many times we miss answers to prayers in the moment because our mind is somewhere else. It's something that we've been praying for that could be right in front of us. It's right in front of us. But because our mind is somewhere else, even though our body's present, we may miss that blessing. So we have to be intentional about guarding that mind, that conversation in between our ears. We have to be intentional about guarding that space. Find time each day, even if it's just 15 minutes. Find time each day to just get away, to relax your mind, even if you're just sitting in a chair quietly. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. Reciting certain prayers. Maybe there's a poem that you like that you want to recite. Maybe there's some music that you want to listen to. But something that will help calm your mind and calm your spirit, because we're just running and going and going and running and ripping and running, and oh my gosh, it's like your head is just spinning all the time. I love going to the beach. I love going to the ocean, especially going out there during sunrise. And a lot of times there are a lot of people out there, but everyone out there is just so serene and so calm because everyone is out there seeking the same thing, the beauty of that moment when that sun comes, just peeks over oh, that's a beautiful moment. When the sun just peeks over the horizon. And as you see the sunrise and the calmness of the water. Some people enjoy going to the mountains and the serenity of the mountains, sitting out on a porch or a patio, breathing in that fresh air of the mountains. Be intentional about, first of all, giving your mind an opportunity to rest, but also so that you can be present in the moment, so that you can be present in the moment. resting your mind and being intentional about that. And I want to charge each and every one of you to write down a plan of how you are going to go about moving forward, taking time daily to rest your brain. What is it that you're going to do? Write it down, post it around you if you have to, and stick to that plan that you've written down. Being present, being consciously aware when you're in the midst of a conversation, whether it's on the phone, it's in person, you're in a meeting, being consciously aware of being present and listening to what is going on or listening to what the person is saying and absorb that. And when all these other thoughts start to jump into your mind, to just tell them to flee, not ask them, tell them to flee so that you can focus on what is going on in the moment at hand. Perhaps there might be some things that you might need to eliminate in your schedule because your schedule is just overloaded. So be prayerful about those things. Be prayerful about, Lord, show me how to rest my brain. Show me how to rest my mind. Show me how to handle it when I'm trying to rest and these thoughts start coming in. Show me how to call upon you to, Lord, help me to rest my mind and rest my brain in this moment. Block anything that may prevent me from resting my mind, resting my brain. Help me to stay in the present moment of what is going on, to be focused in the moment to what is being said or what is being told or what I'm learning or whatever it is, but for my body to be present as well as my mind to be present as well. Ask God for those things. We have not because we ask not, but be prayerful about those things and begin to be intentional about protecting your rest time, your mental rest as well as your physical rest, protecting your rest time and practicing being present in the moment of whatever is going on in the moment. Because in this microwave society that we're in, we're seeing people who are having heart attacks at young ages that are literally dropping dead, having a heart attack at a young age because of all this anxiety and the stress and everything that's going on in our head. It's like, I think it was a movie, a song or something, stop the world, I want to get off. Just slow down, breathe, give yourself an opportunity to rest, rejuvenate, and relax. Well, we have come to the end of our journey. Thank you all so much for joining us. We thank our underwriters for their underwriting support, and we appreciate each and every one of you each and every week. Remember that the greatest conversation you will ever have is the one that takes place in between your ears. What are you speaking to yourself? Is God a part of that conversation? And are you listening to his still small voice? Until next time, embrace the journey.
If you ask me if he changed me, yes he, yes he, yes he, yes he. Oh my goodness, yes he did. If you ask me if he changed me, yes he, yes he, yes he.
Are you saying Jesus changed you?
Oh yes he did. If you ask me if he changed me, yes he, yes he, yes he, yes he. Oh my goodness, yes he did. If you ask me if he changed me, yes he, yes he, yes he.
Are you saying Jesus changed you?
Oh yes he did. Don't get upset, I'ma take you back. You can go with me, you can check facts. You can ask family, you can ask all them dudes that was with me, said they had my back. You can ask hood dudes living on the street. Them same dudes you can see me on E. Man, that boy then changed, got touched by the man upstairs. Man, that's so rare. I didn't do it cause I wanted to. God called me, I heard him do. All the other voices were destructive. God gave me good news. He said that he would change me if I gave up, surrendered it. Did it took a minute. Testimony, show and live it. If you ask me if he changed me, yes he, yes he, yes he, yes he. Oh my goodness, yes he did. If you ask me if he changed me, yes he, yes he, yes he.
Are you saying Jesus changed you?
Oh yes he did. If you ask me if he changed me, yes he, yes he, yes did. Got caught up, that's true story. Grew up in church, that's true story. Saved as a young boy, that's true story. Didn't mean nothing, man, that's true story. I'ma tell this truth in the midst of my story. Yeah, I got proof, the results on Maury. This thing real, can't come back on the peel. He turned up on the grill, this heat hot. Lake fire burn, don't stop. Think about it, giving me chills. I don't wanna go there, ask for a change. Took me back when I first got saved. Gave it up, man, I just got played. When I walked out, man, I should've just stayed. That was easy, should've just prayed. I know that now, I got some age, slow this down.
Holy Ghost,
High on Jesus,
overdose.
wanna know how.
Take some notes,
Here's the first thing,
you should know.
just repent,
Ask forgiveness
then be baptized.
in his name,
You will come up,
not the same.
speak in tongues.
Now you're saved.
I didn't do it cause I wanted to. God called me, I heard him through. All the other voices were destructive. God gave me good news. He said that he would change me if I gave up, surrendered it. Did it, took a minute, testimony, show and live it. If you ask me if he changed me, yes he, yes he, yes he, yes he. Oh my goodness, yes he did. If you ask me if he changed me, yes he, yes he, yes he.
Are you saying Jesus changed you?
Oh yes he did. If you ask me if he changed me, yes he, yes he, yes he, yes he. Oh my goodness, yes he did. If you ask me if he changed me, yes he, yes he, yes he.
Are you saying Jesus changed you?
Oh yes he did.
Jesus changed my life, that's why I give him praise. I was raised